This is the audio recording for issue 59, Our Inbox is Evil. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can check the description below for the link to the article as well as the Zettelkasten that I used to make this piece. Okay, let's get into it. Dear listener, if you want to make a knowledge worker instinctually tense up, a good place to start is to remind them of their likely overflowing inbox. The word inbox has become a bad word of sorts, something that one mustn't bring up in a polite conversation. An inbox, after all, is a reminder of work undone, obligations unfulfilled, and a miasma of past, present, and future stressors. But why is this the case? Are inboxes really deserving of their bad reputation? An inbox is a queue. This queue largely has two features. Feature number one, allow information to be dealt with asynchronously, also known as some arbitrary time in the future. And feature number two, prioritize said information. On the face of it, these features are genuinely helpful, or at the very worst, inert. In theory, being able to reply to a message later frees us to stay focused on our current task. And in theory, having a priority queue enabled in our system allows us to filter out noise and only focus on high return on investment communication. In theory, that is. In practice, an inbox is an obligation. An inbox is an obligation, ironically, because of the features that make the queue useful. The asynchronous information allows senders to barrage an inbox while having no frame of reference to whether their receiver is overloaded. The priority list ranks back and forth conversations aggressively, leading to multiple threads of email hot potato taking up the top spots in the queue. In practice, the email inbox is a system where the more effort you put in, the more work arrives later. In other words, the better you are at email, the more email you are expected to answer. Sucks, right? To deal with foreign systems, individuals must enact systems of their own as preventative mechanisms. While there are many good systems for dealing with email inboxes, I'll only highlight one in this issue. Then I'll close out by talking about a strategy that I think makes dealing with inboxes in general more palatable. Office hours is a concept that prevents items from being added to your queue in the first place by setting up the following conditions. Number one, I am available from the window of X to Y where you can receive an immediate reply. Number two, outside of office hours, you can contact me with important information through some non-trivial route. In 2024, something as simple as a phone call is often too much for people to go through with, so this is a good non-trivial option. Both of these come from Cal Newport's work. The office hour method is great because it solves problems that the inbox introduces. It gives our senders a chance to ask their question and know when they'll get a reply, and the sender will be able to see if you are or aren't bandwidth locked. I personally take office hour calls on Tuesday from my website, and then have recently been doing a live stream office hour session on Fridays. The office hours technique is amazing, but at the end of the day, it's just a technique. For the inbox in general, I think we need to do better. Strategies will only take us so far. In order to conquer our inbox, we must think bigger than workarounds. As mentioned prior, the inbox is a system unto itself. A combination of bad actors and downward societal pressures makes each individual inbox a slightly different version of hell. To get out means that we must change the rules of play. In 1894, a report by the state legislature found that New York was the densest city in the world, surpassing Paris, London, and Bombay, with the Lower East Side being the most densely populated place on the planet. In 1901, 7 years later, Theodore Roosevelt, then governor of New York, signed the Tenement House Act into law, preventing tenement homes from being built in New York City. 113 years later, the Lower East Side, not without its problems, mind you, maintains its history while being one of the most attractive destinations to both tourist and live on the face of the planet. Changing the rules does work. It may seem farcical, but our inboxes can change as well. Allow me to add one feature to the specification I gave for an inbox before. The queue largely has 3 features. Number 1, allow information to be dealt with asynchronously, also known as some arbitrary time in the future. Number 2, prioritize said information. And number 3, this is new, every manual effort put into the inbox improves the density and utility of the overall system. The third item isn't a feature that queues provide out of the box, but this feature is now technologically feasible thanks to advents in vector embeddings and personal library science. If you want to know more about personal library science, check out the issue in the description, and there's a link to a blog post that I wrote about it. When you take action in an inbox, the system itself should compile that knowledge. This compilation of knowledge can show the user distinct relationships from seemingly disparate sources of information, and more importantly, develop a cow-pathing automaticity in the system over time. Instead of just an autoresponder or a binary mark as important flag, this third rule sits at the level below, organizing information in a holistically useful manner for the inbox itself and the owner of the inbox. This third rule happens in the during and the after of inbox processing and informs future interactions, and is not technically concerned with delivery or prioritizing/filtering. Allowing the inbox and the owner to enter into a mutualistic relationship means understanding what a queue is without judgment and asking if there are more effective ways of handling our communication streams, particularly at the level of the individual. We can work towards a future by addressing the inbox at a system level and simultaneously decreasing the burden on the operator. If done correctly, the stigma of the inbox will hopefully and slowly loosen its grip on our collective psyche. Thanks for watching. Again, if you're watching this on YouTube, please check in the description for the link to the article, your common base, and the Zettelkasten used to create this. Have a good one.